le plus haut niveau dans l'histoire du Canada. Nous avons des députés dans toutes les provinces. Nous sommes dans une majorité en 7 provinces sur 10. Nous avons le niveau des députés le plus haut au Québec, par exemple, depuis 1980, je crois, et le niveau le plus grand dans l'histoire de la Colombie-Britannique, par exemple. Alors, une campagne très transparente, une plateforme claire et un mandat fort. Mais, cela dit, il faut travailler avec le Parlement et surtout avec le Québec et avec les provinces et les territoires afin de mettre en œuvre ces objectifs, cette plateforme.
Mais par rapport à ça, est-ce que ça change votre rapport de force par rapport...
Non.
Est-ce que vous seriez intéressé à accueillir au sein du caucus libéral des députés d'autres partis? Puis est-ce que des tentatives qui ont déjà été faites en coulisses pour les convaincre de traverser la ligne?
Je crois que, comme j'ai dit, mon mandat est fort. C'est fort. Nos objectifs sont clairs. Et par exemple, j'ai eu des conversations une conversation très constructive avec M. Blanchet en ce qui concerne la stratégie pour le Canada et une conversation constructive avec M. Poiliev en ce qui concerne notre stratégie par rapport aux Américains. Si je me dis, il n'y a qu'un Premier ministre et nous avons des objectifs assez similaires. Alors, c'est un mandat fort pour moi et en ce qui concerne les négociations avec les Américains, c'est clair pour M. Trump, qui est le Premier ministre du Canada.
Alain Bizzetti,
oui, bonjour, M. Carney. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Vous savez bien, M. Poiliev n'a pas gagné son siège. Il va donc essayer de revenir au Parlement en demandant à quelqu'un de lui céder le sien. Vous aurez, vous, à déclencher une élection partielle. J'aimerais savoir quelle sera votre réflexion pour choisir la date de cette partielle. Est-ce que ce sera le plus tôt possible ou on le laisse attendre jusqu'en novembre?
J'ai déjà indiqué à M. Poiliev que je vais déclencher une élection partielle. La décision du Parti conservateur aussitôt que possible. Simple. I've already indicated to Mr. Poilievre that if it's the decision of him and the Conservative Party to trigger, if I can put it that way, a by-election, I will ensure that it happens as soon as possible. Okay. No games, nothing, straight.
OK. Et donc, je n'aurai pas de supplémentaire là-dessus, mais vous avez dit aussi que vous allez demander au roi de venir. Vous avez dit aussi que vous allez demander au roi de venir lire le discours du trône. Oui. Comme vous le savez, vous avez gagné beaucoup de sièges au Québec parce qu'il y a bien des nationalistes qui ont accepté de vous prêter leur vote, un vote qu'ils auraient peut-être donné au Bloc québécois autrement. Des nationalistes qui ne sont pas nécessairement en amour avec la royauté britannique. Comment croyez-vous que ça va être reçu et comment leur expliquez-vous ça?
C'est simple, puis le roi, c'est une... premièrement, j'ai au roi et Sa Majesté, il l'a accepté. Alors, il va assister à l'ouverture du Parlement. Ça, c'est clair. Et c'est cette situation, cette décision souligne la souveraineté du Canada. C'est absolument clair. C'est un message très clair par rapport aux autres pays à travers le monde. Et c'est un honneur. Merci. To be clear, I made the request of His Majesty, and he has accepted. He will open Parliament with the speech from the throne, and that is it clearly underscores the sovereignty of our country.
En quelle façon ça souligne la souveraineté de demander au monarque de notre pays?
C'est la troisième question.
Yeah, my question was cut off.
Okay, yeah. In what way? It underscores this is the ultimate head of state, which underscores the, one of the points I made. I'll answer it this way. Quand je suis devenu le Premier ministre pour la première fois, j'ai mentionné il y a des peuples fondateurs du Canada, des peuples autochtones, des peuples français et des peuples anglais. Et alors, ça indique les fondations de notre nation, la nation canadienne. D'accord.
Kenzie Gray, Global.
Hi, Mr. Carney. In your second call with the President, did Mr. Trump outright say or insinuate at any point that Canada should become the 51st state?
He did not.
All right. We've heard Mr. Trump on April 23rd and his surrogates throughout the final days of the campaign reiterate the idea that they believe Canada should become the 51st state. On the campaign trail, you said on multiple occasions that respect for Canada would be one of the key things in terms of having a meeting with him. Do you think over the past few days we have seen respect for Canada from the Trump administration?
Look, it's always important to distinguish want from reality. La volonté et la réalité, right? What someone wants and what is reality, and what the Canadian people clearly have stated, virtually without exception, is this will never, ever happen. And if any of the leaders of the party and their representatives would attest to that, I think the votes attest to it. I think the public dialogue attests to it as well. We're meeting as heads of our government to discuss that partnership. Now, I'm not pretending those discussions will be easy, or they won't proceed in a straight line. There will be zigs and zags, ups and downs. But as I said in my remarks, I will fight for the best deal for Canada, and only accept the best deal for Canada, and take as much time as necessary.
Davis Labrie, iPolitics.
Hi, thanks for taking our questions. Just one from me to try and squeeze some more reporters in. But to my colleague's point, the White House's public position has continued to be that Canada should be the 51st state. You yourself have said that Donald Trump is trying to break Canada. Considering all that, how can you expect good faith negotiations when you travel to Washington next week?
Look, I think first I've had the direct conversation with him on whatever day it was, Tuesday I guess it was, a couple of days ago, and we agreed to have those negotiations. Very clear discussion between us, as I said, very constructive, I would say the time allocated to our meeting and the seniority of he's the president, so that's as senior as you get, but the other members of his administration who will be assisting at those meetings suggests the seriousness of the discussions. Again, do not expect white smoke out of that meeting. There'll be white smoke probably later somewhere else in the world this month, but do not expect that. But so that's the first thing. It's just the level of the direct dialogue, the discussion, the level of people there. The second point, I'll make it quickly, and thank you for restricting the question so others can get in, is that he respects, as others who are good negotiators, and he's one of the best negotiators, they respect strength. That's why we're building Canada strong. There's lots of reasons to build Canada strong, but the point is, and I will make this point repeatedly, we have more than enough to do here at home. That point about we can give ourselves more than the Americans can take away is absolutely right. We can have a bigger boost to our economy, to incomes, to jobs, by focusing on building one Canadian economy, by building these nation-building projects, by focusing on getting productivity up, by reducing government waste, by driving investment in this country. And so that is a good in and of itself. We're going to focus on that while we have these negotiations with the Americans. And if the negotiations with the Americans take longer, so be it. We've got more than enough to do here.
Kyle Duggan, the Canadian Press.
Mr. Carney, will you be pursuing a formal governing pact of any kind with the NDP?
No. Short answer, no.
And why not?
Why? That's my response. Is we campaigned on a very clear set of objectives, very clear policies to back those up, and we received the highest number of votes in Canadian history. Yes, it is not quite a majority, but highest number of votes. As I said moments ago, majorities in 7 of the 10 provinces, seats in all the provinces, highest vote totals, and deputy counts in a number of those provinces. And it's also a style of governing as well, which is in order to do what we need to do as a country, we will need to work in partnership with all the provinces, with Indigenous peoples. Yes, obviously, by definition in Parliament, we will need to get majority support to pass legislation. But this is legislation that Canadians, or at least we will be putting forth legislation that's consistent with our platform and consistent with the requirements of the time. And I will remind that it's not just words. We are in a crisis. If you look at, the terrible manifestation of that today in Oshawa for the GM workers, 2,000 GM workers, and I'll just express my deepest sympathy for them and their families. A very difficult time. We are committed to supporting workers. All the dollars from our tariffs going to support workers. Fighting hard for our auto sector, all our sectors, in these negotiations with the Americans, and making sure that act in true partnership as well in maintaining employment and investment in Canada. And if not, there will be consequences for those companies. Thank you.
Louis Blouin, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour, Monsieur Carney. Est-ce que, dans votre vision des négociations qui s'en viennent avec M. Trump, d'après vous, est-ce qu'il faut que les tarifs américains soient levés avant que vous commenciez à négocier un accord économique global avec lui?
On verra. C'est une option, M. Blouin, dans un sens, je ne veux pas négocier au public, en effet. Il y aura des discussions difficiles en ce qui concerne, par exemple, les tarifs, selon nous, les tarifs de fentanyl, c'est pas clair pourquoi ils sont encore en place. Mais ce sera une négociation complexe. D'accord. The essence of my answer was I don't want to negotiate in public, so I'm not sure I need to add the other words that were around it. But look, it is complex. Particularly, there are examples where, certainly from our perspective, the fentanyl tariffs, were not merited to begin with, but are even less merited given all the steps that the government of Canada has taken and the progress that's been made. This will be a broader discussion, and it's one of the cards that they have, and therefore we'll see how it plays out.
D'après vous, qu'est-ce que Donald Trump veut dans cette négociation?
C'est une des questions de discussion, parce qu'il a quelques objectifs, équilibre dans la balance commerciale, premièrement, l'arrêt du fentanyl, deuxièmement, et puis l'augmentation des dépenses militaires, troisièmement, et puis mais les objectifs américains changent de temps en temps. Il y a une volatilité des objectifs américains. Alors, mais pour nous, c'est une question d'avoir un accord gagnant-gagnant avec eux dans un monde qui devient plus divisé et dangereux. Et alors, il y a des secteurs stratégiques pour les Américains et le Canada. Et une des questions, c'est, OK, est-ce qu'on va coopérer dans ces secteurs, y compris, par exemple, les minéraux critiques, le secteur automobile, l'aluminium. Il y a des exemples dans l'énergie, par exemple, où est-ce qu'on va diviser le marché dans l'Amérique du Nord? C'est pas clair. C'est pas un bon choix, la deuxième. Ça c'est clair. Mais s'il veut, le Canada a d'autres options. Ça c'est clair. Ça c'est clair.
We'll have time for one more very fast question. Catherine Levesque from the National Post.
Okay, I'll try to make it two very fast.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit, Catherine. That'll get me coming back.
Your party picked up seats across the country but lost a few seats in Ontario. Why do you think that is, and did those seats cost you your majority?
Well, I think arithmetically, yes, but we could pick other, other seats that went various ways. We'll reflect on that. I think as I said at the top, what I take as the Canadians voted for many reasons in different circumstances. First and foremost, what we've been talking about most of this time, standing up to the Americans, getting the best deal for Canada. That's there. Relatedly, a strong economy that works for everyone. But also, clearly, affordability issues. We had a big focus on affordability, security, and safety. That's what we take. That's what we take as, maybe I should say personally, I take as the mandate that the focus of this government should be on those issues. As you know, to govern is to choose. You have to decide where you're going to focus. And I'm signaling, and of course there will be a speech from the throne and subsequent communications, but I'm signaling clearly where that focus is.
And can we expect your cabinet to be larger than your previous one, and will François-Philippe Champagne remain as finance minister?
Did he ask you that? Now we know your sources. Yeah. We will look. I committed to an efficient cabinet, a focused cabinet, cabinet with parity, gender parity, and we'll work towards it. Those final decisions haven't been made, so Monsieur Champagne he will have to wait. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much.
To respect the president of the. We have to respect the.
I am truly sorry, but the Prime Minister does have to go.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Let's not get carried away. All right. Thank you.